And it is beautiful in an East-West matchup here in week number 9 of the Canadian Football League. Marshall Ferguson, Paul Lapalisse, and Britt Dork here for you at Hamilton Stadium. And we all know the third phase of the Canadian game is arguably the most important because it has so many snaps, so much more than our friends down south. Well, today we got a great matchup with two tremendous returners.
Yeah, we always talk about quarterbacks off the top, but we said, no, we're not going to do that this week. Tyreek McAllister, only player in CFL history, 3 different TD combinations in a half, a rush, reception, missed field goal return, 4th ever done. Isaiah Wooden Jr., 2 kick return TDs this season, 4th in his career. He had 148 last week and a 100-yard punt return.
Scott Milanovich looking to get his team back on track. He told us a couple of weeks ago he was looking forward to getting more plays in for Trey Ford, expanding that package, building on it, and Dave Dickinson needs to start getting some of the ugly wins, the tough victories. We saw the Montreal Alouettes get one last night again against the Ottawa Red Blacks, and it was the Montreal Alouettes that were the battle at home just a couple weeks ago for these Stampeders. They lost at McMahon Stadium. Now they go on the road to try and find a way to win against Trey Ford and the Tiger Cats, who won the coin toss and want the football immediately. As the return comes from Wooden across the 20 to the 25, wrapped up and thrown down as we get an opportunity to see Trey Ford once again the starter, and he gets a little flyover as he hits the field as well.
Every week, talking with Trey, he just enjoys the conversation with Scott Milanovich, the understanding of I got a little bit better feel. I appreciate Scott's asking my opinion on what concepts work best so he can be more comfortable in the pass game. Obviously, he's got to protect the football. He had a fumble last week. He had an errant interception, but he seems more comfortable with what Scott's trying to build for him.
I wonder how many times he was forced to watch the Robert Kennedy interceptions. They're trying to learn from that end-of-game pick that really sealed things for the Alouettes as they begin on the ground, and the handoff goes to Larry Roundtree III. Part of this starting offense.
Nate Duguay, first third-year player, progressing well as a starter when you watch film. He had 100 people last week at the game in Montreal. Unbelievable. How many people from McMaster come to your games, Marshall?
Not that many.
Kenny Lawler, beautiful screen pass last week. TD, get him early touches. Only touchdowns that Trey Ford's thrown to Kenny Lawler. Get him simple touches. Get him involved in the system soon.
Ford, after the inside hand, goes back to the running game and leaning on it early on 2nd and 4. It looks like they've got enough. And here's the Calgary defense, which features great players really at all 3 levels.
Tied for first in the CFL with 5 sacks. We got Clarence Hicks, offensive pressure, pressuring the offensive quarterbacks first in the CFL with 34 pressures. Markel Lee leads CFL with 41 defensive tackle. That's not a great stat all the time, Marshall. When you're leading tackles, you're on the field a lot. How about Ben LaBrosse? Hey, let's get our first career interception, our second, our third. Tied CFL record, or Calgary record for interceptions in a game last week.
The outside, there's a strike from Trey Ford as he rips a comeback, and Gio goes down. The legendary equipment man on the sideline pops back up onto his feet, thankfully, but a strike to the outside from Trey to 89.
Yeah, and that's what you're talking about. Watch this, 1-on-1 on the outside. You get a waggle, and you run an out route, which is a safe read. It's called free access. If the defender backs up, I can just throw it to Kenny Lawler on the sideline. Like the call, give him an easy throw on the perimeter versus free access, easy throws to Kenny Lawler.
See how much they can get Lawler involved. Certainly a point of emphasis over the last couple of weeks with Trey Ford as the starter. So easy with Bo Levi Mitchell. This time they decide to go back to the ground game, and Larry Roundtree makes a man miss right in the hole and picks up a gain of, looks like 9 yards on the play. Coming downhill was Zy Alexander, who got sidestepped by Roundtree.
Little misdirection on this play here. You can go ahead and roll it, that it's going to be basically an inside run, but he sees pressure, and once he sees pressure, I'm going to bounce it to the backside. The contain can't make the play. Everybody gets sucked up by the inside run. Good bounce for 9 yards.
How about your boy, Max Mang, getting up in there?
Syracuse finest, Max Mang.
Short yardage package in. Jake Dolagala plunges his way forward, and we joke about Max Mang because he's such a fun story. He's a great locker room guy, but he did tell us going into the Montreal game last week that he just loves the fact he's getting more of an opportunity here in Hamilton. He can really expand what his package was at Syracuse, where he was basically just a lineman. He was a big guy that would catch the out pass.
Well, and the interesting thing, and he said in his pro day, he was catching balls, running routes downfield, and their coach is like, wow, we didn't know you had hands like this. And he's like, well, what do you mean? You're my coaches. Why didn't you utilize me? me.
Well, what he said to us was, did you guys not watch practice? I'm on your team. There's practice film of me catching footballs. So he's lined up here as a H-back tight end as he motions into the backfield, and Trey Ford will look to throw with Mang supplying the protection as now Ford uses the legs, and he skirts his way just across the 45-yard line, slides down, and on second down.
So why, Max, you talk about Max Mang being in protection, it allows you to have an extra body to help when you do these play actions. These play actions downfield take a little bit of time, so he can help with the offensive line. You're going to have less receivers out, but it's a cleaner pocket for the quarterback. And if he doesn't like what's downfield, he can go ahead and scramble like he does here.
Sets up 2nd and 3 yards to go, and why not go back to the ground attack? Looks like stopped just shy, as I think that was Jaden Grant coming down and making the play in the running game, and expect short yardage to hit the turf once again, as though, yeah, they'll send out, looks like the kicking unit instead.
Couple extra bodies here you can see right there as this play runs. You're just trying to create an extra gap, and then as that extra gap happens, you bring another receiver to block the linebacker. Curly Gittins Jr. getting in there, getting busy, getting a little extra work. But 3rd and a long 1.5, almost 2, it's going to force a field goal.
Long field goal as well, right at the 50-yard line here, so they decide to lean on the leg of Mark Leggio. Consistent, accurate, and plenty of power, and a beautiful day in Hamilton, never in doubt. As Milanovic settles for the 3 on 3rd and 2, and it pays off the triple, and an early lead for the Hamilton Tiger Cats as Vernon Adams Jr. will hit the field here in Hamilton, coming in with 3 touchdown passes and 5 consecutive starts. Vernon Adams Jr. last week in action, and again putting up massive points. It has been a historic year thus far for the Calgary Stampeders. It helps when Tyrek McAllister is running free
wide
right
open down the middle of the field. 319 yards here. A lot more deep passes last week. Jalen Philpott with this huge big run for a touchdown, but a couple of shots downfield. VA's done great with these deep shots when he gets opportunities, but I love what they're doing as an offense on 1st down. Easy passes, easy pictures for him to be able to get easy looks to throw completions.
We'll begin with 5 receivers, but go to the ground game. Dedrick Mills cuts it back, and off and running. Dedrick Mills immediately here in the hammer across the 50. And the Stampeders starting offense, their identity feels much more consistent when they are running the rock just like that.
Starts like running right there over Dante Demery. 6-year offensive lineman, one of the best on this football team. You can see why they run to the left so much. Jalen Philpott, last week, 128 yards, career high. That we just saw the 69-yard TD, the longest in career, made 3 people miss. Really good stuff. Pat Delmonico there, offensive coordinator.
VA moves around McAllister in the backfield. And they'll get it to Tyreek. Why not? He had such a massive week number 8 performance, and Braxton Hill has to chase him down. One of the best tackling efficient players in the CFL back in the lineup here for the black and gold as we look at the rest of the D around Hill.
Julian Hauser has done a really good job with Philip Osai on the other side. Philip talked about Julian's, did a great job at teaching him the game in the last 2 seasons. Wynton McManus, watch for this middle linebacker facing a team that likes to run the football. Vernon Adams better see where Stavros Katsantonis is. 3 interceptions this season, leads this Ticats secondary in takeaways.
Blitz look here from the Tiger Cats. They send it. VA against pressure, wide open. Down the seam, Deshaun Brissett will walk it in. And Vernon Adams Jr. now has 24 touchdown passes, Lapo, with 0 interceptions.
When you bring extra defenders and you blitz, you better get home to the quarterback because you're putting your defensive backs in difficult situations. You're going to see all these offensive the linemen come in to block. Wynton McManus walks up. Stubblefield is the free player. Stavros Katsantonis drives early, go right over the top for the easy touchdown. It's very difficult if you don't get home. Dejan Brissett, nice touchdown versus cover 0.
Identifying the defense, finding the solutions, and throwing the football with accuracy. That play, a perfect summation of what number 3 has been up to in 2026 for the Calgary Stampeders. This time, Brissett plays the victor into the
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys standing in the line of scrimmage. When you have extra players, I'm going to clear this and show you one more thing. There's nobody behind the defense, and that leaves everybody in one-on-ones. And then you see Brissett here. I'm not sure why Stavros Katsantonis, I think he thought the ball was going to be thrown quickly. He drives up. He's in no position to take the play over the top. Great recognition by Vernon and execution versus blitz, but it's the protection that gave Vernon the extra time for the big play.
Yeah, absolutely. They take a little return end around and decide to hit it right up the middle with Isaiah Wooden, but there is Dejan Brissett. As we look back at the touchdown one more time here, and I mean, this is one of those that Stavros Katsantonis, sometimes he guesses, he jumps, and often he's correct, but this one just off, and Brissett running clean into the end zone.
You know, and this is an acquired skill for some quarterbacks. You got Reggie Stubblefield coming off the edge. You got to be able to throw through that defender to the spot. Great location, great understanding of what coverages you're faced in, trusting your protection, just throwing it up, put it in the middle of the field, let him run it down.
How about the VA delivery too, curving the bullet around the free rusher, right? I mean, gotta love that. It's back to the ground game. The Tiger Cats going. Roundtree is lively today. Kenny Lawler getting a block on the outside. He's able to hold up Anthony Johnson in the corner just enough to spring Hamilton for a first down on first down with the ground game.
Roundtree gets a great bounce outside, and then he's in a one-on-one situation. That's the hardest part about these backs as they get out here. Zy Alexander has got to be in a position to make the play. He's right there, can't make the play. Kenny Lawler's blocking downfield, giving him extra work. That's what you want. More touches for your tailback, create touches for everybody else.
We're only midway through the first quarter, and Roundtree's already creating headaches for those boundary defensive backs, isn't he? As they go once again, off tackle, and they almost had Max Mang leading out in front, Lapo. Giving all sorts of different run game looks right now.
Multiple tight ends in the game. One on the front side, one on the back side. You're just trying to stretch the defense and then give the tailback an opportunity to find a crease in the defense. Really difficult because these DBs now have to come. Max Mang's in the box now. You got to come in, bring your strong side linebacker into the box. You have to bring your weak side halfback's got to start playing the run. So Ticats trying to get established a run to help Trey Ford, young quarterback.
Doing it successfully right now, and also burning clock as well, keeping themselves alive against an explosive Calgary attack. As to the outside, this one skips incomplete into the turf, and short-arming that, hands on the hips in frustration from Trey Ford.
Just a quick out flank route. Just not accurate enough on this throw on the outside. You got to open player. You got to make sure you can open your hips, get that ball thrown to the right.
And Derek Moncrief giving chase that time, but Keandre Smith started out strong, 20 catches in his first 4 games, all passes from Bo Levi Mitchell. And since the injury against Winnipeg, has just 8 catches in his last 3 games as they go for it here on 3rd and 5. Ford looks to use his legs, middle opens up, and as much as the negative is a flag might fly, no, the offensive line didn't like it regardless as Nate Dumoulin-Duguay goes to make his case, but Ford might short arm one on 2nd and 5 in frustration, but on 3rd and 5, he'll get it with his legs.
There's nobody in the middle of the field, and that's what happens, Marshall. As the quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, say, hey, you know, everybody's expanding to where I'm trying to throw. Now I see all this space in the middle. I'm just going to take it. It's only 5 yards. It's not a long yardage. This is what you want your young quarterbacks to do. When you recruit quarterbacks, Marshall, have ones that can throw the football, obviously, but also got the ability to use their legs. Moncrief's got to be careful. A collision there almost was in the head.
R.J. Moten, the first year out of Florida, was in on that play as he was in tough one-on-one with Trey Ford, and then they tried to dial up a home run down the right side, incomplete in the direction of Keandre Smith.
Yeah, when you get a couple of first downs, now you give Trey a chance. It's a screen and go. Good man coverage by the Stampeders covering it down. Didn't locate the football, put it out of bounds.
3 passes, 9 rushes for the Hamilton Tiger Cats as of right now. Can you imagine if we were in this game and it was Bo Levi Mitchell against the Calgary Stampeders and we're saying, well, the Tiger Cats are running the ball on 75% of their plays. We'd be going, what?
Saw Bo on the sidelines, progressing really well.
It's good. Good to have you in the stadium here. Hopefully raise the spirits, help out Trey Ford on the sidelines as well. As Ford loads it up, and once again his flags fly, likely a holding call. Ford trying to go airborne, and none of that happening with Damon Webb, as then the football is ripped out. Anthony Johnson is on it. There are no whistles, and down the sideline goes Anthony Johnson. The offensive line gives chase, and a mess for the Hamilton Tiger Cats as Calgary takes advantage.
Last week on a scramble, Trey Ford had a ball punched out. Got to be careful as you're going to scramble and make these. The replay center will take a look at this as we go, but
we will step away as they sort out the change of possession here in Hamilton, but the Calgary defense opportunistic. Trey Ford trying to do everything he can to create, but over the top, not working, and neither was being on the ground. Ripped out. Use of his legs, but a great look at it here as he tried to escape and make something happen. Kyle Wilson rips it out for his first forced fumble of 2026.
And when the quarterback becomes a runner, the first thing you got to talk to him about is ball leverage, just like a running back. He's got the ball held too low. You never want the ball below your elbow. It's going to be susceptible to be punched out. Right there, Wilson does a great job making the play. Watching the film of last week when he had poor ball security.
And I think Vernon Adams Jr. and the Calgary coaching staff smell blood right now after the turnover immediately following the commercial break, trying to take advantage and dial one up for Tevin Jones, but it falls incomplete. Good coverage on the play. Man
coverage down the sideline, taking a one-on-one shot to Tevin Jones. He's had a really good season. The second most big plays on the team behind Jalen Philpott. But good coverage on the outside there.
Yeah, it's Amari Walton. Yeah,
it's Amari Walton, right? It's Amari Walton on that side.
They spread things out. Deshaun Brissett with the touchdown early on here in Hamilton. The former Toronto Argonaut with a big Labor Day touchdown last year. This time they go with the quick screen outside, and it's Brooks spinning back into traffic. And a big hit as Winton McManus got all of Brooks.
Sometimes these are good calls here. You're sitting at second and long. I don't want to face all these different coverages. I'm going to get the ball out to an athlete in space. I'm going to put 2 blockers outside and let him try to run. Try to get 9 yards on 2nd and 10. But Bynum, Stubblefield, Wint McManus, chasing the football. It's what you want to do defensively. Create the long field goal attempt here.
What was Milt Stegall saying in the pregame? As long as you're kicking extra points, field goals, or punting, you're not turning the football over, that's okay. Well, they go 2 and out, but because of the forced fumble by Kyle Wilson, recovered by the Stampeders, they still get points on the board.
We call that finish every drive with a kick, Marshall. Finish every drive.
Jude McAtandy, never in doubt. Hammering the Wilson through the uprights. With a memorable moment on the road at Percival Molson Stadium last week as he had the huge triple-digit 100-yard punt return touchdown with more. Let's head down to Britt Dort.
Yeah, thank you, Marge. Now, the thing is, with Isaiah Wooden, he's in his second full season here in the CFL, and he's really happy with where his skill set is at football-wise. And where does he credit that to? None other than Reggie Bush, because he said we're both from San Diego. We actually both played for the same youth football team, albeit at different times. They also attended the same high school, and that's where he actually met Reggie Bush when he attended one of his high school football games. He said, if you watch my game, I try to emulate everything that Reggie Bush is. He said he wasn't just a running back or a punt returner. He did everything. And when Bush watched him in that game, he said the advice he was given is that, hey, you can't always be ready for the ball to get to you, or it's not always going to come to you, but you have to be ready for it, and you have to make sure you finish your play whether you get the ball or not. When your time comes, make it count. He was making it count last week, guys.
Thank you, Britt. Appreciate it. By the way, with all the NIL and transfer portal stuff, can we just give Reggie Bush his Heisman back, please? What are we doing? Just deciding afterwards to not allow him to have the big trophy is Trey Ford, the Canadian Heisman winner, Creighton Trophy Award. In his time with the Waterloo Warriors, slips that one out. And it's Anthony Litre making the grab. I was actually surprised when we learned that it was Isaiah Wooden loving that USC running back and not CJ Gable.
I love what Isaiah Wooden said, you know, like just emulate, and I tried to emulate and act like him. Well, a lot of guys aren't as fast as that guy or as fast as you are, Isaiah Wooden. A lot of guys can emulate him. You got to back it up with your play. He's been outstanding since he's come up to this league. Been great. Another great returner that we can build great stories around.
Yeah, definitely. CJ Gable is going to mention 5 years here in Hamilton, 4,800 yards rushing. And the fan favorite is Trey, trying to use the legs just like CJ, Reggie, and Isaiah down the sideline. And a first down once again, controlling the game.
Good understanding of what's happening here. This is a middle screen. They're trying to empty out everybody out of the backfield, and you'll see Trey Ford recognizes it's not going to be open as you play this. So as he starts to see this, he's about to throw. You see the lineman starting to pull. The protection's not great, so he starts to scramble around. People moving to the left. He creates his own space, gets the extra yardage. It's a nightmare when these off-schedule plays happen. You got to get this guy in second and long is where you have to handle him.
Extra big bodies in once again for the Tiger Cats. They hand it off inside. Johnny Augustine gets a touch, but going nowhere. Excellent job right in the middle of that defense. Jalen Hutchings controlling the line.
Just love Hutchings. He's got 3 sacks this season, but he's a beast. He's not the biggest guy, but he is a hard player to move. And then when all the offensive linemen are trying to move him, Markel Lee, Moncrief, Kyle Wilson, they don't get blocked. Makes it hard to be able to get off on the second level because of these big defensive linemen Calgary has with Miles Brown and Hutchings inside.
Trey Ford, the leading rusher in this ball game right now, 52 yards with his legs. As Ford looks to the right, it's Kenny Lawler down the right side and just missed him. Coverage was there. Well diagnosed with the combination of Anthony Johnson Jr. and Damon Webb. Not much room, and it falls incomplete, and the field goal unit comes out.
A motion to the wide side of the field by Scott Milanovic, running a receiver down the line of scrimmage. Trey Ford looks over there, sees the defender running. He goes, hey, it's man-to-man. He sees it's a one-on-one on the outside. He tries to move the safety, you see with his eyes, and then he takes the shot to Kenny Lawler, just off target on the throw on the one-on-one. I like the decision, though. Saw the one-on-one, tried to take the best player in their system.
10 yards closer than his last make for Mark Leggio. And legs on the money, 6th year in the CFL. And the former Western Mustang drops it through once again. Hamilton looking for a major, but a pair of triples early on.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by The Score Bet, an official gaming partner of the CFL.
That guy's got a deep voice, man. Imagine being at a restaurant.
That was me. I voiced it. Yeah.
All right.
You just tweak it with some AI. Hamilton Tiger Cats defense. Reason to have hope after playing Montreal last week. As they get it underneath, and this time it's caught by Quincy Vaughn, who's listed officially as the 3rd-string quarterback, but the do-it-all, multi-purpose offensive weapon hits the catch.
The best thing about our league and fun to watch is all the different motions and movements. We have a receiver running from the wide side of the field into the boundary. You fake to him, then you boot out to the wide side of the field. You get Quincy Vaughn on the nice underneath on a little naked bootleg. Nice throw underneath.
Historic start for Vernon Adams Jr. Continuing to roll as it stands right now, protecting the football and putting up points as they go to the ground attack. And the right side of that line, not able to create much of a push, as Dave Dickinson will be staring down a decision to open up the second quarter of action here in week number 9. As the return matchup we hyped at the start of this ball game with Isaiah Wooden against the former Ticat, Tyreek McAllister. Not much to speak of thus far, just one bust in coverage. Vernon Adams Jr. to Dejon Brissett has made the difference. the Calgary Stampeders decide what they want to do to open up the second quarter. But it's the Tiger Cats' ground attack as of right now. 12 rush attempts, just 5 passes. And of course, it's Trey Ford using his legs, but Larry Roundtree has started to roll downhill as well.
Yeah, you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to put multiple tight ends in there, create extra gaps, and try to do some run game that it's going to be harder as those DBs get in there. And then you had Trey's legs could create good opportunities. And the hard part for this, you saw Hamilton give up a touchdown versus a blitz look. You want to be careful how many times you blitz, because you saw Calgary execute versus blitz for the touchdown. If you've got an offense that doesn't put a lot of points up, Marshall, you got to be careful how many times you put your defense in a position to give up a huge explosive like happened in the first. The difference of the game right now is, that explosive touchdown versus blitz.
And a 2 returner set here for the Tiger Cats as well to open up the second quarter, as Dave Dickinson does decide to punt it away. Myron Mitchell yells out "you" to Isaiah Wooden after a 53-yard punt. Wooden wrapped up and tackled from behind. By the way, Reggie Bush has his Heisman, in case you were wondering, Lappo.
Yes.
And Trey Ford still has his Heck Crichton. As we see a quote from Scott Milanovic earlier on this week talking about the athleticism, the pure playmaking ability of one Trey Ford. Michael Vick would be the only guy that has Trey's kind of athletic. Not Manziel? There's been other guys. No. It's a whole other world that Trey Ford lives in. If anybody has seen his numbers, 40-yard dash when he ran track and U Sports, all the rest. He's just different.
Yeah, you talk about these quarterbacks with some speed, quarterbacks who can run, quarterbacks use your legs. I mean, Trey might be one of the fastest players on the field, including wide receivers. So he's elite speed.
Using that a little bit here with his legs as he gets hit trying to throw, and it was incomplete, looking for Larry Roundtree. And I think the tension as well, I was actually talking with Simone Lawrence, who's working with the Ticats audio network here internally in Hamilton, and he was saying the tension they feel at practice is that Trey wants to be respected for his arm, but he can control games with his legs.
You got to do it both.
Yeah.
You just keep winning games, and then they'll figure it out. One thing Scott Milano had talked a lot about is he felt that Trey does a good job getting through his progressions. You saw that one right there. We went to his check down, missed the throw to the check down, but he felt that like he does a very good job of going through reads and knowing where his check downs are.
Ford looks to throw here on 2nd and long. Pressure coming, tries to spin away and tracked down. It's Hutchings finally getting there. Plenty of Stampeders had a shot.
And this is what I want to talk about Trey a little bit and understanding is he's got man coverage. So pre-snap, the picture is a man coverage picture. There is a man-to-man advantage he should take. I think it was the number 2 receiver to the field. He could have taken another throw on the outside, but you don't hold the ball. In man coverage, you take your drop, take the throw. And that's when you start holding the ball, the pass rush gets there, they're rushing more guys. That's when you get in trouble. That's when young quarterbacks, they got to, man coverage, it doesn't get better with time. It gets worse with time. You got to get the ball out of your hands.
So true. Miles Brown almost had the sack, but it is a punt, 54 yards. And now McAllister, with his trio of touchdowns last week, nearly broke one. Isaiah Banya, the defensive lineman at BYU, makes the play. But Jalen Hutchings in the Canadian Football League and back to bringing down quarterbacks.
Well, it was an historic week for Tyreek McAllister last week, recording 3 touchdowns in 3 different fashions, rushing, receiving, returning. And when I asked him, okay, what's your favorite way to record a touchdown after that performance, he thought about it for a second and said, I think it has to be the return game, because that has an ability to flip the script of a game, and it gets a lot of excitement and momentum for your team. Now, he played for the Ticats in 2023 in the CFL, but then he went down to the States and played in the UFL. What brought him back to the Canadian Football League? A little bit of Dave Dickinson, but also his quarterback, Vernon Adams Jr., who called him. And it basically described how he'd been watching him and why he thought his skill set, McAllister's, would be perfect for this Stamps offense, as well as perfect for the Canadian game. And it did kind of pay off for them so far, guys.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Britt. I remember Tyreek McAllister here in Hamilton, dynamic, but he's one of those players very similar to Eric Brooks that we see now, Lappo, with Calgary, where you kind of wondered, should they get more touches? Is he just a returner? What is his thing?
He's got to produce, and that's what happened. That's what happened last week. He produced with a beautiful pass down the middle of the field, a great outside zone run, and obviously the missed field goal return. You can see these numbers. It hasn't happened a lot, and the first ever in one half.
Blitz comes from the Tiger Cats here. BA throws away from it, complete, and on cue it's Brooks making the grab for a Calgary first down on 2nd and long, and VA operating at such a high level, diagnosing where to take the football.
And why he recognizes it, this is what I love about VA, with the reps, more reps. He's got to pressure. You're not going to see it here. To the right hand side, there's going to be pressure. He sees it, and everybody is adjusting to that zone pressure. So where is it going to be soft? The softness is going to be to the opposite side. He immediately moves over, takes the underneath throw. There's plenty of room because everybody adjusted a way to cover for the blitz.
They empty it out here 3 by 3, and VA throws a screen that's almost intercepted. And it was Jamal Peters in a hand battle with Tevin Jones, and it falls incomplete.
Tevin Jones, great football IQ here. Jamal Peters recognizes it from a football. You don't like throwing these screens. I hate throwing these screens right here on the outside when it's press man. You got to get the block. Not flat enough here. Jalen Philpott's got to be flatter and more physical. You'd like not to throw it versus a press player, but they do have a press player. But Tevin Jones knocks the ball out, preventing an interception.
Well, preventing an interception, one that Vernon Adams Jr. hasn't thrown in 2026. Still a clean sheet, but that one was as close as he has come as VA puts his head down and tries to lean through the tackle as the young American linebacker Jordan Crook brings him down.
You can see what Brent Munson's trying to do. This is man coverage with 2 deep safeties, but Crook is in man-to-man on the quarterback because you know everybody's covered. The quarterback wants to run. You take one guy out of the rush, Crook now becomes, hey, you're man-to-man on Vernon Adams. Do not let him escape. It's okay to hold him to a gain, just prevent the explosive play.
Do you think VA played Trey Ford for the scout team this week? they don't really have somebody that could...
You got to put a wide out in. Right? If you want to do, put a receiver in.
As that one goes wide and out the back of the end zone untouched, so no point awarded. It is no good from Jude McAtamney. Just missing on the outside, and the Stampeders' promising drive comes up empty as the Tiger Cats get the football back here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. The 4th overall pick in the 2024 CFL draft, Ben LaBrosse played 28 games without a single interception. Then last week, he's like, you know what?
Let me get 3. I don't love this play right here where he threw it back to the Bombers after an interception. This is a great one. He had a 65-yard return on this. You know, we talked to Bob Slowick about, hey, Bob, like, did you think this would come from Ben LaBrosse? He's like, no, sometimes they just go out there and make plays. Right. And that's what he did. He had his opportunity. He made the plays when they came.
Interesting story with LaBrosse and the evolution of his career. His inside run game going nowhere. This Calgary defense and Kyle Wilson stands him up. But he is an amazing story because he's the 4th overall pick. He's tremendously athletic, playing at Syracuse and the McGill. And then he basically gets replaced by Adrian Green, who is tied for the league leading interceptions last year. And then because of an injury, scratching his cornea, his eye last week, they just go, hey, Ben, you've got to play. And he gets 3 interceptions.
Yeah, and one of the most important things, you hit the nail on the head, like, not a lot of people play corners that are Canadians, and to have that flexibility that you don't change the ratio and you can play a Canadian when one gets hurt out there is very important.
Absolutely. As Trey Ford looks to throw over the top, Curly Gittens Jr. Made the grab at the 48-yard line.
Trey Ford, beautiful throw on this. This is going to be what we call a vertical stretch. You're going to get one deep, one underneath, and one in the flat, and he's going to throw the second throw. As you go ahead and roll it, he's waiting to see them clear it out and open that space underneath on the sideline, and he just throws it right to the sideline, lets his receiver run underneath it. Curly, great extension on the catch, but great throw by Trey. Great read watching the corner lift on the vertical stretch.
A Warrior to a Golden Hawk here in the hammer is underneath. It's caught. Carrick Wheatfall makes the grab. And the passing attack starting to open up a little bit for the Tiger Cats. Scott Milanovic see him working the sideline and the play call sheet.
And again, the one thing you can't do with a quarterback who doesn't have a lot of plays, and I know he's got 26 starts, but you've got to make sure that it's not run first down, run first. It cannot be. You have to give him opportunities to throw the football, do things they right. This is just a simple curl with a wheel route. They lift. If the defender's high on the curl, you throw a curl. Keep changing up different opportunities for him to throw the football.
They'll go with the handoff and the end around, flipping it back to Ford, who tries to get away from 2 tacklers. But Markel Lee and Derek Moncrief.
Well, we have an outside zone to a reverse, back to a quarterback throwback. This is what I would call a whiskey bottle play, because, you know, you love these trick plays, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. When they don't work, you better be careful, because somebody's probably throwing a whiskey bottle down from the top and going, why did you call that play? That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
This isn't Ivor Winlapo.
Right? If this worked, you would be a genius, but sometimes those special plays can get major negative yardage play. The best thing here, get back into field goal range when you're sitting here at 2nd and 20, because you don't have a lot of calls here.
Now a field goal would be 55 yards after the loss, and Ford barely gets it away. Incomplete. Closest receiver, Keandre Smith, but the Ticats back to the sideline.
And a big stop. We talked about this last week. When you lose yardage, you know, you were sitting at that point, you were sitting at like a 40, 46-yard field goal. You have a negative yardage play like that, that takes you right out of field goal range. So you got to be careful at that area of the field, what you call. You don't want to call plays that have great opportunity, but great opportunity for a negative yardage play.
And a little concern here is Florina Rimolade coming off of the Achilles from last season that ended his campaign, grabbed for his, looked like knee, and slow to get up onto his feet. But Flo, who's loved, respected, and admired by so many around the league, thankfully walking off under his own power.
I was watching Flo warm up. I was on the kind of sideline, and he was warming up with some of the strength and conditioning people at the Stampeders, and he looks faster on the sideline. Yeah. When you're watching him coming, he's got great explosion, great first step as a pass rusher.
Well, I always say to people when they go, oh, you do CFL games, they go, yeah, you got to go for pregame warm-up and just see these guys move or get as close to the field as you can. It's amazing. It really is amazing. Too far for Mark Leggio as deemed by the Tiger Cats coaching staff, and so they will punt the football away. And McAllister, lightning in a whiskey bottle, but he's not unhatched yet. Can't get him loose. But Bayfront Park here in the Hammer, as we watch on with a closest stat of the game as we get a look at 3 touchdown passes or more, keyword being or more with VA because of the way this season has gone, in 5 consecutive starts. There's some guy in the middle who played in the early 90s in the CFL who was decent. Kerry Joseph also involved in this, but Vernon Adams Jr. on top of having a clean sheet with no interceptions so far this season. Up in that category as well for your Fisher Investments Canada stat of the game. As VA goes back to work, deep in his own end this time, complete underneath, great coverage, and Jordan Crook all over it as Jalen Philpott hangs on despite the contact.
The best thing he's doing is just understands zone coverage, the halfback is high, the weak side, as you see this picture, you go ahead and roll it, that I've got a soft spot in the defense. I'm just going to take the ball before the will linebacker get out there. That's called teeing it up. That's probably an outbreaking route. You call it tee it up. Don't run into the low corner outside Jamal Peters. Go up to the 6 yards, turn around. Vernon's on the same page. They put it out there for a 7-yard gain.
VA looks to throw once again. This one, plenty of pace to the outside and just past Philpott, incomplete. His coverage supplied by Devondrick Bynum, who did intercept one Davis Alexander last week to end his attempt streak.
Bynum in man coverage. That's why you play man. It's a long throw to the wide side of the field. Bynum is good coverage. You have to throw it perfectly. And Vernon just misses the throw to the wide side of the field to get the good defensive stop on 2nd and 3.
Damian Alford just saw getting the high five from head coach Dave Dickinson there as well, as plenty of movement pre-snap here, and they'll fade to the right before kicking it away for Mark Bassett. Damn it! And drops this one down to Isaiah Wooden. Tevin Jones giving chase, and Wooden trying to get to the outside. Keelan Thomas turns him back inside. A 61-yard punt.
And you can see how much they respect Isaiah Wooden, because they were kicked all the way across the field. That's called the cross-field kick. You kick all the way across the field so he doesn't catch it in the air. He has to now catch it off a bounce and can't get the return.
The global phenomenon is back for a thrilling new season, and the war for the Iron Throne had ignited. HBO's House of the Dragon. Stream now, only on Crave.
I've done Game of Thrones. I haven't done House of Dragon. I got to get in on it.
Natural progression.
I should follow the progression.
Just keep going. As Myron Mitchell, late substitution out, so they had an idea for a personnel package the Tiger Cats wanted in on 1st and 10 from their own 15 and swapped it out at the last moment. board. Hands off inside. And Roundtree bouncing off a couple of tacklers immediately as well. Trey Ford, you see him talking to Curly Gittins Jr. there, so maybe some miscommunication, needing some clarity on what the plan was. But regardless, they set up 2nd and 5 after another solid run by Larry Roundtree, who's carrying the load here today.
Trey getting a good understanding that sometimes he's got to read the end, sometimes they block the end. Hamilton's done a lot of not putting Trey in a position to read the ends. We're going to block the ends, make sure you just hand the ball off, get yourself in good positions. Nice 5-yard gain to create 2nd and medium.
Over 100 yards now rushing for the Tiger Cats as we near the 3-minute warning. And to the outside, Johnny Augustine getting mixed in, and they'll say incomplete as he stepped out of bounds, so no good. 3rd and 5.
Misses the throw on the outside just a little, throws him actually back behind the 1st down yardage. I think you got this. It's an outflank versus man coverage. It just throws it out of bounds. You'd like to throw that earlier when you know you have man. Try to get in his hand so he can get that extra 2 yards to get the 1st down. And
again, interesting to see R.J. Moten playing there, because we expected today it would be Markel Lee, Derek Moncrief, and Kyle Wilson getting the majority of the snaps. But the first-year Gator in the U of F getting plenty of snaps as the Tiger Cats decide to kick it away deep in their own end. It drops down just beyond the 40-yard line. And McAllister brought down by Johnny Augustine, who's working away on special teams after just having the catch that wasn't a catch, stepping out of bounds. A 50-yard punt and a solid return by Tyreek McAllister as Vernon Adams Jr.
During the return, illegal block.
With all these
Calgary,
touchdowns to kick off the season.
1st down.
big block in the back.
You can see there, without an interception to start the year, impressive how he's been able to carry the load, and he's doing it at a rate that puts him up with some of the major names in recent CFL history.
And interesting, Ricky Ray in 2013 would have been with Scott Milanovich, and a true West Coast offense progression read type system. Darian Durant in 2013 with a little bit more true CFL half-field reads, deep shots downfield. It's amazing he did that. Vernon Adams, kind of a combination of the two. A lot of short passes, some deep balls within there. But for VA to be 3 years ago, you would have said no chance that VA could do these numbers without an interception.
Inside handoff here, Dedrick Mills, who just chucks his own blocker, who's taken too long out in front. I guess Quincy Vaughn had to be along for the ride that time with Mills on to pick up speed.
Yeah, a little bit trying to get themselves, trying to create different angles. You'll see people going like this and people pulling up. These are called gap schemes, where people are coming across. They get a kick out by the center. The backside tackle. A good penetration and a good stop. Jordan Crooks showing up, making some plays. Hauser beats Fortan across to make a stop on the gap play.
Vernon looks like he went hard count and got the offside. So free play underneath he goes, and completion is made before Jamal Peters gets in to make the tackle. We'll clean up the flag here out front. Haven't heard from Justin McInnes, our referee, very much. Very clean game between these two teams so far. As we hit the 3-minute warning, and we will clean up the flag for you on the other side as we continue in a tight one here in Hamilton.
In Hamilton. If you like a defensive battle, then this is your game. We're going to talk about this Calgary D coming up at the half, and we have a special guest as well, Cordell Jackson.
Who we got?
Cordell's coming on set.
Yes.
He is. Tune in.
Well, Kate said she liked what I said, so you know what? I like what
Kate doesn't like what I said. What's that all about?
That means I like what Kate said.
Kate?
That's how that works.
Sure, it's going to be a great day out in Edmonton for that last game.
I thought she was going to say
day?
a defensive battle in Hamilton. If you want offense, come to Edmonton Sask following our game, because, man, that Thursday night football matchup last week was incredible.
Cody Fajardo had career numbers.
Crazy stuff for Cody. 510 yards. 35th 500-plus game in CFL history over the last 76 years since 1950. Just wild stuff from a guy that typically is working the underneath, but we'll see what he does at home today with a massive crowd there at Commonwealth Stadium. Looking forward to that on the back end of this Saturday doubleheader.
Hamilton. So the 5-yard penalty is going to result in a second down.
And Justin McInnes just cleaning up what we had before the 3-minute warning there with the offside against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So moves forward, second and 4 yards to go. VA sends the receivers in motion and looks to throw over the top. Floats it up. Clark Barnes hanging in the air, one-on-one with Reggie Stubblefield. And the Guelph Griffin just up the road makes the grab.
Barnes takes this short pass, recognizes it's going to be underthrown, and this is the difficult thing for receivers to do when some of these balls are underthrown. Man coverage, Vernon takes the shot, but you've got to come back. We always talk about stop, drop, come back and get it when it's a short ball. High pointed, good recognition that it's a short throw, beats the defender versus man coverage. Good execution by Clark Barnes in a short ball.
Stop, drop. That's the coaching point.
Drop your hips. Drop your hips so you can jump, buddy.
Shut him down, open up shop. No?
Nice outside zone run here. Right? 7 yards. The Hamilton Ticats done a good job against the run here so far. You know, Dedrick Mills has got one of the most explosive offenses in the CFL from a 10-plus games. Dedrick Mills is got the top rushing offense here in Calgary, so they've done a pretty good job so far.
Rolling on to 2 minutes here in this first half, just 16 combined points. VA, nice touch over the top to McAllister, running in space. Bynum will push him out of bounds before Zamari Walton can't get there. Looks like it's just shy of the sticks.
Munson and this defense has done a lot of good things. Points allowed second to the CFL. One thing he does, I talked to him before again, we don't want big plays given up. We try our best. That's why passing yards allowed first in the CFL, net yards, and third in TDs allowed. They don't mind. Hey, listen, we try to play man coverage when we need to, but we don't want to give up explosive plays. Since he's gotten here, they've been great at eliminating explosive plays, not giving up a lot of touchdown passes.
VA shows the end around all the way to Damien Alford and then uses his legs. Almost looked like a designed quarterback run that time, using the former first overall pick as the decoy. What do we got here, Lapo?
Yeah, we got this is a naked bootleg, but it's basically off of, we're going to send one guy back, we're going to fake a revert, we're going to fake a reverse in this direction, we're going to send the tailback out, and then the quarterback's going to follow. That's a lot of lines on the field, so try playing defense and cover all these. One action, second action, and it's just a bootleg with a lot of different guys. Everybody's covered. It's 3rd and 3. Quarterback gets the first down with his legs.
Scott Milanovic starts drawing all those lines going, interesting one for Trey, maybe. Down the road as VA looks over the top, gets hit as he throws Tevin Jones. One-on-one, it wasn't intercepted. The flag is up in the offensive backfield, but Jamal Peters has the ball. And Vernon walking back towards the middle of the field as he believes this play will be wiped out.
Miles Fox gets in there, delivers a shot as VA's about to get the ball out. A little bit blind on this throw here, Marshall. He's looking all the way left. I think he's trying to move the safety, and then he just puts it too far inside for Jamal Peters. Tevin Jones goes right to Jamal Peters.
McInnes has the call.
Roughing the passer, Hamilton, number 91. 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
And so he is still interceptionless in 2026.
Fox doing a good job splitting the two defenders. Let's take a look at this late hit. We had the center and right guard trying to get the block on him as he gets through there. I guess that's contact to the head, because I don't think that's a late hit. It's got to be contact to the head.
Challenge flag
does not like it.
Challenge flag is out from Scott Milanovic. He got one look at it. Someone in the booth up top. I should challenge it as well.
Hamilton is challenging the ruling of the field of roughing the passer. Play will be reviewed.
So you just got to make sure. I don't think this is. I don't think this is late. Usually referee's going to say, they're going to say gone as soon as you're going to hear somebody saying gone as soon as the ball's thrown. Now what you're looking for, is it helmet to helmet as he gets there? You can't hit a quarterback in the helmet in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and that is face mask to face mask up tall.
So it's getting harder and harder, obviously, for defensive linemen. And again, player safeties, the CFL wants to protect the quarterback, so you can't go too high on him. And again, when the quarterback's in the pocket, you can never go below his knees to make, so they've kind of shrunk where the spot is for player safety, make sure nobody takes a shot to the head.
After review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. Hamilton will be charged to timeout.
And tough one to have it get changed when they've already called the penalty. Right?
Yeah, they've already seen it. They've already understand. Like, I'm sure they're going to get a quick picture at that. So it's a tough one to go ahead and make a challenge on to lose your timeout.
As Fox disagrees, obviously, and then enjoys the crowd trying to support him with their frustration. But this is a big moment in the football game right here. Only the one touchdown on the board so far. Vernon Adams Jr. to Dejon Brissett, and the Tiger Cats backed up in their own end. And you know how efficient Calgary has been in the score zone this season. They'll hand it off. McAllister, he had 3 last week. He's got another today. Tyreek McAllister, touchdown Stamps.
Is so important. See over here, I don't see a player over there. We're going to get a down block and we're going to pull people around, and then they have nobody to contain for the outside zone. Go ahead and roll it here, guys. Down, pull around the horn, block on the receiver on the linebacker. Mills goes inside and then back out to the sideline like he's taught on the outside zone play. You've got to have extra guys. When more players come into the box, when the extra offensive linemen come, more players got to come in. So nice one for Tyreek McAllister.
Amazing part of that maybe was if you take Vernon Adams Jr. out of it and Tyreek McAllister out of it, essentially the other 10 players did such a good job, except for Jalen Philpott, who was turned around looking at McAllister at one point. So the other 9 did such a good job that you didn't need the 10.
Well, and the touchdown comes because Tyreek made one person miss. And again, hats off to Dave Dickinson, Pat Delmonico, offense coordinator, and Tyreek himself. Because when you get opportunities and you make plays consistently, they will build a package for you. The first thing in my offensive coordinator booklet always said, get the ball to your most productive players. And when players keep showing that they can be productive, you find ways to get him the football. This is going to continue to grow for Tyreek McAllister and this Calgary offense. It can be a great 1-2 punch.
What's great about this, too, you see him start to get more of a package. You think about, Javon Leake when he was in Toronto, being returner, goes to Edmonton, gets more touches, gets more love, gets an opportunity. Then you also start looking around at the rest of the league. It's like you get more guys mixed in different ways. You might have to rethink what Brett Dort reported to us earlier, that his favorite way to score is a return touchdown, because he's going to get more and more looks.
And the big thing it does, when you can do this and you have other playmakers at other spots, Vernon Adams doesn't have to throw it 30 times.
Yeah.
So you make it simpler for him, and he only has to manufacture plays on second downs.
Well, I think after watching McAllister score, Isaiah Wooden wanted to get the football as quickly as possible into his hands, but Myron Mitchell trying to talk it through after they bang hips.
A little bit unsure.
I mean, he had a 100-yard return last week. You got to
give me it back.
You got to turn and lateral it to him, no?
Give it back to me. Give it to the guy.
What was great about it, well, we see Jake Dolagala, or is that actually that's Harrison Frost that's into the football game right now. And so the formerly third-string quarterback assigned as backup more recently, maybe giving Trey Ford a break to see the game in a different way at this point, or has there been a change at quarterback?
He's showing it in the second 122 here. Quick draw play. You're going to try to go fast here. You don't have to go too far. You want to finish this drive with points. 1:16 left. You got plenty of time. They're in no huddle, standing around, making the calls in the no huddle. Would be easier for a young quarterback who hasn't been here long. Just a couple of plays.
Yeah, 6'1", 194 in his third year out of West Georgia. As Frost takes the shotgun snap with pressure coming free. Mark Alvey's all over him, and the ball pops out. They'll let him play out. There's no whistle. It's picked up by Kyle Wilson, who takes the Wilson all the way to the house. Touchdown, Calgary.
By the replay center.
They'll work through it, clarify whether this was an incomplete pass, a fumble. When did it come out? The replay center looking over it right now. Al Bradbury, our replay official today.
Yeah, watch right here. Harrison Frost doesn't have a chance. This is a mistake protection-wise. You don't let the A-gap rusher, you don't let the B-gap rusher Wilson come through here. The line's got to slide to help him. He's got no time to throw. He's trying to throw it away, but you can't have a free rusher when you have 5 linemen. You have 5 players at the line of scrimmage. Just not a good situation. I know they're kind of jetted on one side, but they're not in a good position to protect for a young quarterback.
After review by the replay center, the ruling on the field of a fumble recovered by Calgary and a touchdown stands. It's a Calgary touchdown.
Big moment at the end of this first half. It's gone from a 10-6 game to 23-6 with the extra point to follow, with Trey Ford watching on the sideline.
That fumble has to be recovered immediately. Immediate recovery. You always talk to your players about, hey, don't worry about whistles don't count. Make sure whistles don't count on defense. Anytime the ball's on the ground, pick it up and go run and score. Let's go back to that. All right, I want to draw one more thing to kind of show you what has to happen. And you got a young quarterback in the game. He sees this free rusher just trying to make something happen, but it's got to be a forward pass. You don't make a bad situation worse, Marshall. Okay, I know there's a free rusher here. Just can't have a fumble here. What you need to do is just throw it across the line of scrimmage. But you also got to protect better for this guy. Give him an opportunity so he doesn't have to throw. If he's going to throw hot, he's got to throw off the widest guy, not the guy right next to the guard.
So that's great X's and O's, but analytically what I find interesting about this is Bob Slowick and the Calgary Stampeders defense blitz less than anybody. But because maybe Harrison Frost is in, maybe Slowick decides, you know what, let's turn up the heat a little.
Yeah, and they were still in zone, but they walked up a bunch of guys and made it difficult for the offensive line, the Ticats, to figure out which direction they were going in. Okay? See Scott right there saying, that's my fault, that's my fault. I'm not sure why Scott's blaming himself for it, but good on him.
Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing moment for a young quarterback that probably feels the weight of all of that and the disappointment here playing at home in the stadium. That the head coach says, don't worry about it, let's go get the next one. As this returned by Max Mang, playing as the up back in the blocker, but they don't want to give, whether it be Myron Mitchell or Isaiah Wooden, another touch here with 42 seconds remaining. So Frost does come back out. So I don't think that this is a spur of the moment, let's throw him in for a drive or two situation.
That got lost in the conversation a little bit. Is, hey, what's going on with Trey Ford? Is this part of their plan that they were going to get Frost in? Or they're evaluating Trey's performance in the first half.
Yeah, well, interesting. The panel certainly has something to chew on coming up at halftime from out in Edmonton, where the Rough Riders and the Elks face off coming up after this one. As Frost looks to throw off the hands of Kenny Lawler, just a little high, incomplete.
A little bit of bad snap. He does a great job with his hands, and then he's just throwing a simple dig route to Kenny Lawler. It's a little high for Kenny. You can see him up at the top of this. He's just going to run in, and you're going to have a guy running out. Nice and easy read. As the halfback runs inside, he's on the right guy. He's just got to bring the ball down.
10-0 points off turnovers in this football game in favor of the Calgary Stampeders. And again, it was a 4-point game. And now a 20 24-6 advantage with the backup quarterback in. As pressure on it, Frost breaks away from it, now runs away from the second, gets to the 55, and slides his way for a first down using his leg, just like Brady Ford. 24-9 is your score at the half as the rushing yards for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The story right now, Larry Roundtree carrying much of that load alongside Trey Ford when he was in, as Larry is standing alongside our Britt Dorff.
Can you just explain the challenge of having yet another quarterback come in to run this offense?
I mean, it's not a challenge. You know, we have a next man up mentality up here. You know, Johnny's getting in. Obviously, you know, Trey's being down. You know, Frosty's up now. Not really a challenge. You know, everybody's expected to be great when it's time to play. So I don't expect nothing different from the next man up.
What does this group have to do to turn things around?
We just got to do our job. You know, not shoot each other in the foot, just lock in on the details and just not make some mistakes. And we'll be fine. It's more so just who wanted more. That's what the game's going to come down to.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Who wants it more? That is the question here at home for the Tiger Cats, and perhaps the question becomes, do they have the intestinal fortitude to dig their heels in and battle back into this one? Because it looks like Harrison Frost should be getting the snaps, but it will be Calgary touching the football first as a moonshot kickoff here to begin for the Tiger Cats as it bounces off, and it's live up in the air, and Destin Talbert slapped at it. But did it go off the hand? No, they'll say Hamilton football. So they steal a possession. I thought it might have been a 50-50 with a Calgary player. I think it was Ludovic Choquette.
I was just going to say, there's got to be help for Harrison Frost in this game. You got to create something defensively. What can we do? So the Ticats recognized, hey, I think there's an area where we can do what's called a moonshot, where you kick it in between the deep coverage and the upfield coverage. Missed by an upfield player. Last to tap out. Talbert gets it. Good recognition, good execution when the Calgary Stampeders upbacks don't handle the ball very well. Great job creating a short field for a young quarterback.
And it is Harrison Frost at the controls right now to the outside. Throws a strike on a comeback once again to Kenny Lawler. Complete. Starting his collegiate career at Mercer. Bouncing around, then going to West Georgia, finishing out there with a couple of proficient seasons that grabbed the attention of scouts and made his way here north of the border.
Keep pictures simple for him. This is a outcut, 12 yards. Get the ball, take the drop, throw the ball. Doesn't matter, hasn't had a lot of reps. I can throw an out route to Kenny Lawler.
And I wonder if that is the emphasis as Jake Dolegal is still handling short yards, plunges forward. But is that the emphasis for Scott Milanovic and the offense as we look back at what we missed at the end of that first half, unfortunately dropping the connection for just a couple of moments here, Lapo?
Yeah, last play of the half, they don't want to try a 49-yard field goal, so this is incomplete. But you see Charles Haley gets a roughing the passer call, moves the ball up 15 yards, so they get a free 3 points. So critical error by Charles Wiley at the end of the half to lead to 3 points for the Ticats.
Blitz coming from the secondary here. Hamilton picks it up. Harrison Frost over the top, deep shot, hanging in the air, incomplete. And Kenny Lawler, looks like he might have thought there was a bit of a hug at the end of that one, but an aggressive downfield throw as it was Ben LaBrosse in coverage.
Yeah, and it's a little bit too far away. Let's highlight right here and go ahead and roll it, guys. It's a little bit too underthrown. If it's not underthrown as much, he can stop, drop, and go up and get it like I just talked about and probably draw the penalty. But he just can't get back in time, can't get his hands up. Good job by LaBrosse. LaBrosse, for a big guy, can run with Kenny Lawler. Does a great job on that last play.
Now Harrison looking to his left. Once again, Lawler backtracking. And did he hang on to it? Touchdown, Tiger Cats. Oh, Frosty the throw.
Harrison Frost, but I know he's a smart guy. You know why, Marshall? 3 straight passes to Kenny Lawler. Let's make sure we get a playmaker of the ball. He sees man coverage. He throws it on the outside on the slot fade. A little bit back shoulder throw. Kenny's great at these coming back. You can see what Scott Milanovic liked in this opportunity to get this Harrison Frost and throws.
Well, we wondered, would Hamilton have the ability to dig in at the start of the first half? As the extra point from Mark Leggio is up and good. How about a moonshot kickoff that you recover thanks to Destin Talbert slapping it out of bounds, and then a quick 4-play, 75-yard drive. Minute 49 and into the end zone.
This weird term called a moonshot, and when you get a moonshot, what you're trying to do is see this space in between the both levels of guys. You're trying to kick it there. I think the Ticats kicked it a little too far, but the problem is George Aduku he's not used to carrying the ball or catching it, so then Talbot knocks it out of bounds, leads to this Kenny Lawler touchdown. Great execution by the special teams, and then the offense.
Mark Leggio sends it back into play and actually will allow Tyrese McAllister to touch the football this time around. And McAllister trying to make them pay for it. Out across the 40. Good starting field position for his first touch of the second half for Vernon Adams Jr. It's been an interesting dynamic, Lapo, because we've seen multiple times, even if the returners don't touch the football, they are influencing the way this game is being played, right? Kicking it short, kicking it sideways, kicking it out of bounds, kicking it out of
cross-field kicks we saw, moonshot kicks, and then obviously Tyrese McAllister getting his touchdown run. They're finding other ways to get productive players in football.
Dyson Middlemost makes the special teams tackle on McAllister, but not till he reaches the 42-yard line. All of the momentum was with Vernon Adams Jr. in the Calgary offense the last time they touched the football. That's changed a little bit now as VA has to respond, checks it down over the middle. Went McManus there to help out. At the end of the play, looks like Braxton Hill was right there all over it once again.
Good vision by VA. He's looking to his right, trying to figure out where he's going to throw. But what I want you to watch is he starts looking this way, and then he's going to progress all the way across to throw to the middle field. Watch him. Eyes to the right, doesn't like the picture, flips his hips, and then finds, we call this ball hook right over the ball. So he progressed from the right to that easy throw right in front of him. Good execution on a quick progression read.
Eyes to the left, comes back right, takes the vertical shot, and Dejon Brissett got bumped. Looks like by Reggie Stubblefield, but it's a mutual parting of the ways here as they went hip to hip in the middle of the route. Stubblefield actually saying it was a push-off by Brissett.
And hats off to Brent Munson. Talking to him before the game, like, we play man coverage. A lot of teams stay away from man coverage. They don't want to play it anymore. What does man coverage help you? It makes throws have to be accurate, and it also puts you in a position where you can, it's not as easy to throw in all these spaces of the zone. Quarterbacks are too good for the zones and the width of this field. You got to play some man to make contested throws.
Hamilton gets the football back. Lyman Mitchell right into the middle of the fray. And wrapped up and brought down. In 2023, Harrison Frost was playing in the XFL with the Seattle Sea Dragons. His offensive coordinator, former Ticats head coach, Jude Jones. Got the start, obviously. He has been the starter outside of the one game with Jake Dolegala since Bo Levi Mitchell went down with injury, and he was managing the game using his legs. It was 10-6 early on. He was trying to go over the top, but then a costly fumble came out, turned into a field goal. Points off turnovers in the advantage of the Calgary Stampeders, and at a certain point late in the second quarter, Scott Milanovic, the head coach of the Ticats, just pulled the plug and went to Harrison Frost.
Yeah, 4-10, 40%, 58 yards. He did have the turnover, missed a couple of throws, open guys.
Frost rolling to his right, completes. And this is the interesting, no, they'll say incomplete as it was in behind Keandre Smith. The interesting conversation, I think, is because Trey Ford, Lapo, is, Canadian University kid. Everybody knows him. Everybody's watched him here. If he gets pulled and people get real frustrated, okay, well, tell me what you know about Harrison Frost, right? It's always like, if you don't know anything about the next guy, what's wrong with giving him a shot? Because the coaching staff knows him.
Yeah, I think sometimes we really overanalyze. Hey, well, you know what? I don't believe there's a discrimination against Canadian quarterbacks. I think coaches just want to play the best quarterback, right? And give people opportunities to play.
Screen underneath. Curly Gittens Jr. breaks through the arm tackle of Kyle Wilson, puts his head down, and gets to the 45-yard line.
Nice execution on the screen passes. You can see the linemen getting out of here. That's what you want. These, what you call these slow screens, where you want the pass rush to get upfield, and you do it over to Clarence Hicks' side because you want that guy to go rush the passer. He goes upfield, slide the back underneath, you get the lineman out. Roundtree makes you miss, gets back up inside the lineman. Good execution on the screen pass there for a good first down. Now, we talk about Trey Ford coming out of the game. Don't forget, Scott Milanovic benched Bo Levi Mitchell for turnovers.
This is true.
Turning the ball over. So, like, I know that's an important stat to him.
High snap over the head of Frost. Can't do anything about it, and it'll be Roundtree taking a seat. You hate those for Liam Dobson, who, by the way, had only taken...
Little situational football right there, Marshall. I would have loved it, Roundtree right there. He would have just thrown the ball away, right? That was one thing we used to work with our running backs, is like Andrew Harris would do that. So, like, right here, I'm broken contain, now it's sprint out. I'm going to go ahead and throw the football across the line of scrimmage. As long as it's across the line of scrimmage, you don't lose all this yardage. Now you got a young quarterback at 2nd and 25, and pretty much the calls on 2nd and 25 are draw and screen.
Liam Dobson in his 5th year out of Maine. He had previously played in Winnipeg, was drafted by the Blue Bombers, and actually got his first start at center in Hamilton in Winnipeg.
When it was back.
Yeah, back in
started out at right guard for this organization. They've moved him inside. Then they put him starting over Chris Kolinkowski.
And a bit of a limp coming off the field as well from the big center. Harrison Frost in the offense, trying to make sure they keep a little bit of that positive flow that they had going from the Kenny Lawler touchdown catch, but that drive ends prematurely, going backwards for all the wrong reasons. Now it's on their defense and special teams. Irish McAllister catches it at his own 30, stutters, and starts to run away from tacklers, but a 10-yard return after a 47-yard punt. And Vernon Adams Jr. continuing to sling it, still has no interceptions as we sit in week 9 of the CFL season. Here on the road in Hamilton, he was pretty effective overall. I mean, started out with a little easy pitch and catch down the middle of the field when Stavros Katsantonis lost his footing, and continue to spread the football around. He has got plenty of receivers ready and willing to be part of the equation, as Clark Barnes made that great high hanging grab for him as well. But plenty of people getting into the mix. Unfortunately, Reggie Beggleton not one of those receivers that he can spread the football around. Back on the 6-game injured list for Beggleton after practicing with the team. Coming off the big injury from last year in Toronto. That's where the Stampeders will head in their next game, by the way. A short week going out and playing at BMO Field. Apparently that's the home field of the Argonauts, Lap.
Coming up. Jamal Peters with a good hit here. Vernon's just trying to outflank the defense, but Peters is the widest player. You don't want to throw it when you have a low corner right there. You want to protect him or look back inside. Peters, good stop. Creates a 2-yard gain.
Speaking of former Argos, Peters always enjoys the matchup with the double blue now that he's down the road here in Hamilton. 2nd and 9. VA pressure coming, tries to get small and slide away, brought down. At the bottom of the pile, Miles Fox makes good on the penalty he took at the end of the first half.
Going to see a little bit of movement here by Miles Fox. These guys are going to do a little bit of a stunt and go inside. Makes a nice move as Vernon goes to, he doesn't like what he's seeing downfield. Miles Fox is there to recover before Vernon can scramble up and get his plays. Vernon, you know, when you see Vernon doesn't run like he used to. And that's not a thing. He's just been in the league a long time. He started as a runner. Now he's more of a drop-back thrower.
Flag comes out on the punt, but it's a monster boot, 61 yards. second-year man out of Colorado. Bassett. There's the Tiger Cats. Get a little help from their friends on defense. Miles Fox in the middle of the fray. Black and gold ball when we return.
NFL since 2019, but with all of that football experience, you still can't be over-prepared. He is known to be one of the first guys to be at a stadium on game day. Today was a little bit earlier of a kickoff, but most game days, 6 or 7 hours before kickoff. And he told me that comes from his time when he was in Denver and he worked under Mike Shanahan, who taught him to be 6 or 7 hours early for kickoff in order to be that prepared. Now, he has 3 sons who coach in the NFL right now as well. And I asked him, are they the same way? He said, absolutely, especially my middle son, who works alongside or has with Kyle Shanahan. So a couple father-son duos that are obviously very knowledgeable in the game of football, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Britt. By the way, wishing well to Kyle Shanahan after a scary situation with the car accident that was reported this past week. But, I mean, Bob Sloak being there that early. What is he doing for 6 or 7 hours?
He can always get work to do. There's always something to do.
Certainly puts in the work. There's no doubt about that. Big hit, but an even bigger completion. As Harrison Faust feathers that one in between coverage to Keandre Smith, who's starting to heat up here with Frost in the ballgame.
Level 2 throw. What does that mean? He throws it over the top of the boundary coverage. You see the tailback goes out in the flat to hold the underneath coverage. He recognizes the underneath coverage sit, and he throws it underneath. And you got to throw this early enough before the defensive back. You saw Anthony Johnson come down to make this play. You got to throw it with anticipation. Great anticipation catch by Keandre Smith.
Frost now has more completions than Trey Ford did when he was in the game. Also about 30 more yards. Looking for even more. Down the rail and knocked away. Incomplete. No flags come out. Kenny Lawler, the intended target.
Nice stop by Anthony Johnson. Again, play action pass. Fake the run. Take the one-on-one on the outside. You can see this. Let Kenny Lawler. 2 receivers downfield. There's your one-on-one. Go take a shot. Scott Milanovich is watching the angles from TSN right now, trying to see upstairs whether he's going to use. He's already used a challenge, right?
Yeah, I mean, the challenge flag is in his back pocket, but he used it in the first half, got it taken away because he did not win that challenge. So,
already used a challenge.
Yeah, Frost will have to battle through. And once again, going to Keandre Smith, they've got something starting to heat up a little bit, but the spot doesn't look like it'll be enough for the first down. So it's 3rd, and Frost realizes that the punting unit's coming off the sideline. Just a 1-score game here with your backup quarterback, who's really your 3rd stringer. And you see Milanovich trying to tell him, good job, just keep
going. Couple nice throws he's made tonight so far, or today. And again, you heard Milt talk about it in the pregame show. You got to finish a drive with a kick. Make sure, young quarterbacks finish the drive with a kick. Let your defense, special teams help you, and then you'll make your plays.
McCarthy hammers that one down to McAllister, who gets dragged out of bounds. Just a little one hit. Is that Owen Huber? 2 MLS Western Conference contenders collide as Vancouver Whitecaps FC face LAFC. Tune in tonight, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on TSN. I had an amazing moment last week. We were in Montreal for the game, right? Hamilton against the Alouettes.
Me and you.
Walking through downtown Montreal, was there with my 5.5-year-old son because of our tremendous TSN World Cup coverage. He saw there was an MLS game of Inter Miami going against Montreal FC, and he wanted to stand in the street and just watch the soccer game through the window.
Cool.
It was amazing.
I thought you were going to say it was amazing to get to work with me. What is happening?
It's always amazing to work with you. What are you talking about? But soccer fever continues, certainly here in Canada, and Canadian football rolls on in week number 9 with the Stampeders sitting at 3-4. This does not feel like a team that's sub 500. Understandable for the Tiger Cats losing Bo Levi Mitchell, but VA's rolling, and somehow they're sub 500.
Well, I keep saying this. You got a team that really runs the football well. Calgary's offense and 120 yards rushing a game. Tiger Cats are standing up against the run.
Did a good job against Davis Alexander in that game in Montreal last week, but in tough years, a big hit once again. When Nick Manis delivers a hit, you feel every little bit of it.
Safe throw. swing. Again, he goes through his progressions. Then you get a little swing screen. Again, simple throws for the quarterback, but it's very hard for these offensive linemen to run out and try to make a play in space. Usually you tell them to go cut those guys. Not done as much in the Canadian Football League anymore, but like you got to get, it's hard Winton McManus on a left guard, and that's just not going to happen.
See if one of the pair of dynamic duo for the Stampeders coverage unit can make a tackle here as a flag hits the Hamilton skies.
Time count violation. Calgary number 15. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
And that'll back the Stampeders up. I was about to say Keelan Thomas and Jezilaomi Ojutalayo, the two Canadians, difference makers on special teams.
Having a great special teams year, yeah.
12 special teams tackles for Keelan Thomas, who's played CJFL with Okanagan, and then Ojutalayo from Wilfrid Laurier University sits second with 11 on the year. Also has the highest single game special teams tackle total this season with 4 back in week 4. They gave chase here as Isaiah Wooden catches it. Thomas gets blocked and then blocked into his own man, flying backwards. That was actually Quincy Vaughn listed as quarterback, and Isaiah Wooden a little worse for wear after having his own player thrown back into him.
Probably got the wind knocked out of him here in the hit like that usually.
Yeah, he's tapping his chest. There's a big collision.
Okay, good kick on the sideline. Give him not a lot of space. He comes up. Oof. Runs in. A little friendly fire right there. Daniel Bell.
Yeah, Daniel Bell is not a small man either at 6'1", 218. Moving in the wrong direction. And Isaiah Wooden hopefully gaining his wind back. Good to see him again, part of this elite returner matchup. And I hate to mention it for Tiger Cats fans, but a little bit of shades of the 2019 breakup there where Theodric Hansen threw a Tiger Cat right back into the lap, I believe.
Yeah, I was there. I was upstairs watching it.
That was a big one. Same part of the field as well. Boundary return. And Wooden ready for the next one, ready for the next opportunity as these two teams go punch, counter punch, tied at 3-4 on the year, nearing the end of the third quarter. And Harrison Frost trying to engineer what would certainly be a memorable victory against Vernon Adams Jr. You just never know in the Canadian Football League. Single score game. Frost, play action, steps up, works the pocket, looks over the top. Carrick Wheatfall is free. He's open and wasn't ripped away. Does Wheatfall have possession? They battle for the football. And the field judge, Jason Maggio, says first down Hamilton.
You always talk to your quarterbacks. You have to know if there's a post in the field. What's going to happen? Penetration is going to take him off his spot where he's about to throw the football. The penetration happens. He climbs the pocket. Know where your post is. Make the throw to the post. Wheatfall's there. It's a little underthrown, but he comes up with it. Ty, usually Marshall is going to go to the offensive player, but that's having a great understanding of when Ty climbed the pocket, I've got plenty of time. Find the deepest route on the field.
Gain of 49 yards, simultaneous possession, of course, going to the offense, but I just wasn't sure it was simultaneous. I thought Jim Grant might have ripped it out. As now a big hit on the release. Was that Clarence Hicks? It was number 1 causing havoc.
So at the bottom, you're going to see right here at the bottom of the line, he's coming off this edge, trying to see what happens here. He just makes an inside move. Really does a great move, beating Trevor Reed and the tight end. They got the tight end to help for him, but when he makes that inside route, Trevor Reed's got to stay more inside position because he's got help on the outside by the tight end. You can't do this to your young quarterback.
Harrison Frost looks right, rips this one high and incomplete over the head of Keandre Smith. Derek Moncrief supplying the coverage.
You know, Calgary Stampeders, you know, what they are good at, they've given up a lot of yards this year, but what they can do is sack the quarterback. Hicks has been outstanding this year, second in the CFL in sacks between Clarence Hicks and Flo. You know, Flo's got 22 pressures this year, so the strength of this defense is this defensive line, and they're making plays today.
So interesting trying to watch Scott Milanovic figure this out on the fly, right? And in real time on the sidelines in front of the home fans. How do we best use the talent that we have on our roster? In this spot, trying to get back to 500 on the season at 4-4. 6 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and Mark Leggio tags another triple onto the scoreboard.
And as you keep talking about that, you know, the first thing you have to do, you know, certainly Harrison Frost, you're going to have some plays that you like for Harrison Frost. And then as a play caller, you got to go, okay, I got to change it over to Trey, but here are the 6 things that Frost can do very well. And they've had him long enough the last couple of weeks that he's gotten some reps. And the most important thing is something Trey said is conversations with your quarterback. So the first thing I would do the day before the game, here's the game plan. Tell me, this is my first call. Do you like it? You go through all the calls, figure out what you like most system-wise.
Brennan Adams Jr. on what should be the last play of the quarter, and that one nearly the first interception of his season. Wynton McManus had mitts all over it. Well, the Stamps have outscored their opponents as we head to the 4th in the final quarter in 6 of their 7 games so far by a +37 margin. By contrast, Hamilton has been held scoreless in the 4th quarter in their last 4 games. Something's got to give here in Hamilton. Got a great 4th quarter lined up for you here. Just a 5-point ball game after the Mark Leggio field goal. 200 passing yards now, well over what Calgary has for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Just 8 net yards as well in that 3rd quarter for the Stamps. And it's one of those offenses that they can put up 50 points on anybody, Lapo, but they could also struggle through a quarter and put you in a strange situation like this.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the Ticats, the Calgary Stampeders have won the 4th quarter scoring in 6 out of 7 games this year. This is where they really poured on. They've been able to score. Hamilton has not scored a point in 4 games this season and been outscored 6 out of 7 in the 4th quarter. So they've got to find a way to make something happen with a young quarterback in the game. But hey, they're in a good spot. 24-19. Very good position to be at home. Keep your crowd in this game.
Gotta think somebody on the Ticats sideline probably said during that quarter break, guys, we're here, we're in it. Well, VA trying to answer it immediately as Deshaun Brissett, almost exactly where he caught the ball that went for a touchdown all the way back in the 1st quarter, begins the 4th with a big explosive play.
Big shot play down the middle of the field versus the zone. VA, great protection to give VA the time to hit this right over the top of the linebackers. And VA going a little tempo here, trying to keep the Ticats off balance. They've struggled a little bit in the 3rd quarter.
That's the line they go, trying to hit him with a stretch run quickly, but Wynton McManus turned it back inside, and all the Ticats defense flowing helped out.
The D-line is what does this. The defensive line, their ability to free up the middle linebacker. You got Wynton McManus right there. Okay, watch Wynton right here. As the ball is pushed to the wide side of the field, he's free because they knocked the right tackle off. The right tackle can't get there. Wynton's just going to run this ball down to get nobody for the 2nd level players. Your D-line is supposed to free up the linebackers so they can run to the football.
McManus ejected from the game in Montreal on Sunday evening, but playing with fury here at home in week number 9. Underneath, passes complete, going nowhere. And the Stampeders offense heads back to the sideline as we see Wynton McManus on Sunday in Montreal getting kicked out of the football game. And we knew it was going to be a penalty, but when he started walking towards the sideline with his helmet off, I remember saying, is he done in this game right now? And he was.
Yeah, the replay center, as looking at this, you know, the CFL wants all these extra plays out of the game here. And so you'll see right there at the end, there's a little bit of a blow to the head. And I don't think the replay center wants, hey, anything, don't give the officials a chance to make a ruling on anything you're doing after the play. And that's probably what drew that expulsion last week.
Well, good to have 48 back in uniform today, and certainly having an impact on this one as he helps shut down Calgary's attack and force the made field goal. Ticats ball when we return. Moments sequence of CFL games because of the massive impact they have in games. Maybe this one played into part of the reason that they decided to send Trey Ford to the sidelines and bring in Harrison Frost. That was a fumble that came out early on in the ball game, recovered, of course, by the Calgary Stampeders. Then Harrison Frost came in and got this one punched out by Mark Ali, and it's a forced fumble and a fumble recovery for Kyle Wilson.
Yeah, both quarterbacks got a fumble today, and Calgary defensively getting some takeaways.
10-0. Again, the points off turnovers. When you look at the score line, and again, it's almost a direct line to how the game is playing out as Larry Roundtree has hacked down Jaden Grant at Oregon State, flies down from his field halfback position. And again, Scott Milanovich working that call sheet over.
And a lot of run game on early downs with extra players. Max Mann going ahead to block. They get a little double team, the receiver, and helping. And then, again, put your tailbacks in space. Let him make people miss. Damon Webb's up there to make the tackle. Can't make the tackle. Creates 2nd and 4.
Ross certainly does seem to have command of the offense as he hands it off on 2nd and 4. And internally, Clarence Hicks wins the battle as clean as you could imagine.
Let me see the goddamn thing.
And Milanovich wants another look.
Sometimes movement, I think this is Elijah Hills we're going to see here. Sometimes movement is what's difficult. Late in the snap, you're going to get movement here, and that just confuses your zone. This is just a zone play in your zone read, and then they get split. The center gets caught up, and that allows them to have a free player right in the middle of the field. So the movement before the snap is what helps out, makes them get the great play. Open up Clarence Hicks.
This ball bounces into the end zone. And McAllister. Calgary leads the Hamilton Tiger Cats, both sitting at 3-4 on the season. We're 11:20 remaining in this 4th quarter. And Vernon Adams Jr., this is not necessarily the monster day statistically that we've seen at various points throughout the season. Had a game earlier this year at home against the Toronto Argonauts where he had 6 touchdowns. Today, just the 1 touchdown back in the 1st quarter, 12 of 17 for 150 yards passing. Hamilton very much alive in this game as VA completes over the middle. Took a massive hit in the backfield as well. And Vernon showing off his toughness to hustle back onto his feet.
Got basically a pressure from the outside. Wynton McMahon is going to work. You're going to get everybody coming in, and you're going to get 2 people off the edge here. As you see this blitz happen, here's 2 from the front side of the play. Vernon knows he's hot. He's just got to wait for the inside throw. He locates it, understands he's going to take a hit. Great play to create the explosive.
Big tackle here in the backfield. Julian Hauser. First time we've said his name today, and yeah, VA feeling it just a little bit, gives the thumbs up, saying he's all right, but he's certainly bouncing around and trying to get the blood flowing into that lower leg that he was grabbing at after the hit.
Not easy to make these throws when you know you have a free player. The problem with those perimeter blitzes from the secondary from your strong side linebacker, it just happens so late. So it gives Vernon that extra time to get that ball off.
Clock had to go off in his head real quick on the play. He took the hit. How quick will it be here now that he's feeling not great with that lower leg? They call a little screen out to the flats, and Dedrick Mills gets the first down and more. Running free, nobody home on the Tiger Cats defense, and Vernon gets an easy one.
One of the reasons completions are up in the CFL, a lot of zone coverage. Everybody's dropping out. Vernon starts to look to the field, and then he's just going to come back to his check down because he didn't like what was to the field. When that happens, the coverage is already lifted. Why? Because his eyes were to the right, and everybody else got deep to the first down markers. That's why when you check it down, get backs the ball in space, let him get first downs. This is one of the reasons he doesn't throw interceptions this year, taking checkdowns.
VA ripped that one just past the outstretched arms of Clark Barnes, and frustration setting in right there for Vernon Adams Jr. in his 10th year in the Canadian Football League. playing at such a high level right now.
Just missed that slant on the outside. You know, you love those opportunities. We got a run play called, but if you like the picture on the outside, because we've got all these guys in to block. There's your one-on-one, just missed on the throw, and he knew it. He wasn't happy camper after that one.
290 pass attempts without an interception for Vernon Adams Jr. Makes a deep drop this time. Now steps up in the pocket and decides to check it down underneath. Losing his footing was Brissett. Ball almost came out as well. Just floating up around that shoulder pad dangerously. But he hangs on to it.
You know, you can empty everybody out of the box, get as many receivers. You see, Brissett comes in to be a protector. The tailback leaves. So now Brissett is the one who's going to leak out and be the check down. Vernon just doesn't see a picture he likes, starts to climb, sees Brissett right in front. So you can either empty the backfield, get everybody out of there, or bring other players in to block and then release. But again, the check downs, not forcing balls downfield. It's what he's been great at this season.
And another field goal attempt makes it a two-score game as the Stampeders hit the 30-point mark with 7:50 remaining in this fourth quarter. And Tiger Cats, and it's not been favorable for the black and gold over the years playing against these Stamps. 70-35 all-time against the Tiger Cats, and there was a long stretch there where it felt like Hamilton hadn't won in Calgary at McMahon Stadium for, I don't know, 400 years.
A long time.
I think that was what it was, but off the top of my head. But Hamilton, as I say, trying to find a way back into this football game, doing a decent job, but need to get something going once again, and hanging it up to Kenny Lawler, never a bad idea, but that one falls incomplete.
Wheel route up the sideline. Good play on this. You know, I want to talk Bob Slowick a little bit in this Calgary defense. Getting better each week. You know, they're last in the league in some categories, net offense and everything. But talking to Bob Slowick, he said, you know what? We started the season, we were too base, too vanilla defensively. Then I said, I got to be more exotic. And then we got too exotic, and the players didn't understand what was going on. So now we're trying to find that happy medium and not being too simple and not overloading your players with too much defense.
Difficult balance to try to figure out, certainly on the fly. Is this one incomplete right at the first down marker? He was looking for Myron Mitchell, but...
And that's the hard part. Anthony Johnson just sitting here. He's like, I know you're not pushing the ball downfield. I'm just going to sit on the sticks. He can come down, make a play on this ball underneath. Just no vertical presence on the comeback. You see how close he is. He gets out of that break, uses what you call the long arm. That long arm is the one that can get in, make a play on the football. Great play by Johnson, just kind of sitting on the sticks, knowing 3rd and 10. That's what they're going to do.
Learning in real time because he's been beat on 2 comebacks in this game. One by Trey Ford and one by Harrison Frost, right? So figuring it out on the fly, you always appreciate that in a player, especially a defensive back in the Canadian Football League. Is a 57-yard punt after a 19-yard return. And Vernon Adams Jr. will have more on him in his incredible journey and proficiency in the 2026 CFL season when we return. Vernon Adams Jr. just listed at 5'11", 196 pounds. We know he can move, and we certainly know he can throw.
He's 196 here. He's taking some shots today, everything. And I'll tell you what, a lot of fans talk about, you know, when the quarterback did this wrong, why didn't he do this? Why didn't he see this picture and throw it here? Try playing this position. Try seeing how fast these things happen. Watch this play right here. He's got to throw the ball immediately with a guy in his face. This is not easy. That's why not a lot of people can do it. Especially the guys sitting on the couch, the Monday morning guys.
I said this one time in a game in Ottawa. So you want to play pro quarterback, huh? As this one over the top. Great defensive play by Jamal Peters falling off on it. And I remember Bo Levi Mitchell when I said that, said, I like when you made that point, man, because it's not easy getting hit week after week after week.
Jamal Peters, watch this. He sees an underneath route, and he understands they're trying to go deep. So he leaves the underneath route, understanding pattern concepts. He says, okay, you've got a guy low. There's going to be somebody over the top of me. He falls off underneath. Quarterback's got to see that because that's the guy who's going to intercept the ball on those corner routes. Great recognition by Jamal Peters and understanding of the pattern concept.
Those 3 hits, by the way, that we showed you on DA, first quarter, second quarter, fourth quarter. They've spread him out, and he's been battling through it. What can he do here with pressure on? He gets it away. First down, and just a little bit more as it looks like looks like Deshaun Brissett hanging onto it just by a fingernail once again, up to around the 55.
I said this earlier, like VA is not the scrambler he used to when he first came in the league like some of the other guys, but he does enough now. He's going through his progressions, can't find anything. Now he escapes, finds Brissett. Nice catch coming back behind the body for the first down as they go tempo and try to change up the Ticats and slow them down a little bit with some of their own tempo.
Julian Hauser been controlled throughout the day by the tackles of these Calgary Stampeders.
You know, talking to Brent Munson too.
Yeah.
Like I was talking before the game, he's like, listen, we've been through the gauntlet of quarterbacks. We haven't seen an injured quarterback all season. We faced Nathan Rourke. We faced Vernon Adams. We faced Zach Collaros. We've gone through the gauntlet of really good guys. And he's like, some of these guys are getting quarterbacks hurt. We haven't faced any of those guys. So he's gone through with a lot of talented players. Defense trying their best to eliminate these big plays.
Second down and 4. Jalen Philpott, after his big game against Montreal recently, motions down. They go the other direction. Eric Brooks. Hamilton sideline wanted a bit of a push off, but Brooks just faded away beautifully.
I talked about Hamilton plays a little bit more man than other teams in the CFL. What does man give you an opportunity? The quarterback sees where to go with the football right away. You can tell he knew, I'm taking Brooks. I'm going to throw the one-on-one to the wide side of field on Devondrick Bynum. And it's a little underthrown. I think Brooks, for a smaller guy, you watch this guy, he can jump up and make a bunch of plays on the ball. I've seen that happen all season long. Nice catch. That's his 4th catch of this game.
VA looked like he was going to throw it quickly, then drops it down on a draw handoff. And how about the reverse spinning?
The blind handoff. That's a scary one to do, Marshall, when you run these. If you watch this end zone shot, you get draw plays. Let that pass rush get upfield. But watch VA here. So this is what I would call a blind handoff. He turns and spins, and the timing better be there with the back. And then once again, get backs to ball in space. They can make people miss for big gains.
And see at the end of that play, Vernon got stepped on. Add another layer to the sideline recuperation reel as the short yardage team plunges their way forward on 2nd and a yard. How about the backwards spinning move by Dedrick Mills too? It's like the old Vince Carter dunk contest reverse 360 windmill. You know, it just looks prettier when you go from left to right instead of right to left.
Dedrick Mills, Tyreek McAllister, kind of cool group to have in there. Multiple guys.
Yeah, definitely. See Vernon and his interception-free streak continuing 295. Can he get to Darien today?
We shall see.
I guess it depends how many OTs we play.
Probably not with 3:15 left with a 10-point lead, Marshall. If you do some situational football, probably not.
It's incredible, though, right? Because, and this is what I love, is we've talked about the streak when Davis Alexander had it before Devondrick Bynum picked him off on Sunday in Montreal. It takes having a Calvillo and a Moss and eyes and coordinators that can help you do that. Well, it's Dave Dickinson here that's helping dial this thing up, but VA certainly finding ways, and another spin move from Dedrick Mills.
Yeah, I mean, it is a pretty cool thing. You got Pat Delmonico, the offense coordinator, has been calling the plays the last 2 years, but you got Dave Dickinson in this building. Like you mentioned, Anthony Calvillo has had a long career. You've got some great former quarterbacks in the league that are now coaching, and that's a lot of fun to watch.
Braxton Hill tracking down Dedrick Mills, but not until he taps the B button one more time and spins away from tacklers. He might reach the end zone when we return. Medium for the Riders and the Elks. It's next right here on TSN. And the question becomes, will Cody Fajardo have the Rough Riders saying, oh, no, or will the Rough Riders roll? That's the question.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see the adjustments to make against Cody Fajardo after a 500-yard game.
Sneaking it in. Power run as the flag flies. And Quincy Vaughn doing the dirty work and getting the big reward as they'll clean up what looks like offside against the Tiger Cats defensive line.
Offside. It's a climb. Touchdown is good.
Quincy Vaughn, really good push at the point of attack, and all you're trying to do is the offensive line's got to finish lower. Quincy Vaughn's got to keep his feet moving. See him right here going off to the left. A little bit left tackle. A little bit of a pause. Offensive line moving people out of the way, get that easy touchdown.
9 plays, 78 yards in just under 4 minutes.
The streak of outscoring teams in the fourth quarter will continue for the Stampeders team.
Looks like it for now. Flag comes up here as well. I wonder if this isn't pyramiding on the extra point attempt. Came up at that spot, but this is one of those games that feels like Calgary should be 20, 25, 30 points up. Right? It feels like they've controlled it. Because you've had a quarterback change for Hamilton, it feels like they've been struggling, but they're sitting here, and Hamilton keeps getting it to a 1-score to a 10-point game.
Hamilton, number 79. That 10 yards will be applied on the kickoff.
Good catch on that call.
Get a look at the touchdown drive that Hamilton will now have to answer in order to reel back in the Stampeders here at home.
Got a mixture of EA using his legs, hitting Brissett for a couple of throws down here. Okay, big catch by Eric Brooks coming back for this football. Draw play to Mills. Couple of spin moves, really nice. Quincy Vaughn finishes it. Finish with your feet in the end zone. Real touchdown. Now, here's an interesting thing for the Calgary Stampeders. This happens often in this Canadian Football League. They're staying in Southern Ontario. Right. So what happens is they play the Argos Thursday night. You and I are doing the game Thursday night. So instead of flying all the way back to Calgary, taking the charter tonight and everything, they're going to stay here. They're going to practice at McMaster University, right? Your alma mater. They'll probably get 1 day of practice, and then they're going to get ready, and they'll drive up to Toronto, stay in Toronto, and then play the game. So I don't know if it's a cost savings thing, but it's certainly better for your team, so you don't travel all the way across the country and then turn around and travel back. So this is usually done once a year by some teams to protect guys' legs and make sure they're ready to play the next game on a short week.
Definitely is great team building opportunity, as well as DeAndre Smith will return the kickoff and get smacked down around the 13-yard line. The Calgary Stampeders actually played a regular season CFL game at McMaster as well, back when it was Dan Lefevre at the helm for the Hamilton Tiger-Cats.
Central Michigan's finest.
And the Stampeders
are bomber with me.
Yeah, remember, won that football game against Hamilton just up the road here on campus, but they'll get a chance to stay there for a little while before the Argonauts game on Thursday. And let's be honest too, I made the joke earlier about apparently the Argonauts play at BMO Field. That's got to be so exciting for Toronto to actually get to go to their own
home
stadium,
game all season.
Right?
Yep.
That's going to be great for them. See what kind of energy that game holds for us. As Harrison Frost steps up in the pocket, trying to get away, and he does get past the original line of scrimmage, so it won't go down as a sack, but a minimal gain and pressure on from this defensive line that is starting to really hunt late in the fourth, up by 17.
Yeah, and so Harris, as Harrison gets more and more reps, the big thing is, can we call as many plays, see what concepts he likes, so Scott can start getting a feel for what this kid, like, you cannot simulate anything but this game speed. You can't do it in practice. He's got to get full speed reps.
That one's going to go right into the chest of Derek Moncrief and punctuate the Week 9 victory for the Calgary Stampeders. Shades of the Trey Ford interception to Robert Kennedy in Week 8.
Remilade gets some pressure. This is what you call an empty protection. The tailback's going to leak outside. Flo gets a nice spin move, takes the shot on this throw, but he's got to see. When you know your tailback is leaving, you have to see the strong side linebacker. He should be expanding also. If he expands too much, you can't throw that curl route. You got to throw it to the back. Doesn't see the expansion of the Sam, leads to the pick and the score.
How about Flo sitting on the ground, almost still moving from making the hit on the quarterback and already going, house call.
Celebrating on the sideline. Celebrating the touchdown from the ground.
Unbelievable for him to be sitting on the ground and realize the effect that his impact on Harrison Frost was about to have.
Yeah, and you can see Harrison right here. He's trying to see, and he just doesn't see Derek Moncrief just expanding. As he sees the back go to the flat, he's like, okay, they're trying to, if he's going out, somebody's coming in. Moncrief goes underneath, doesn't see it. Easy pick 6 for the Stampeders. Getting better every week defensively, Marshall. Calgary Stampeders started out really bad early in the beginning of the season. Getting better each week.
Yeah, absolutely. It also struck me, just kind of grabbed my eye there, as Moncrief is going for a stroll into the end zone with 17 points off turnovers now for the Calgary Stampeders. That Ben LaBrosse was his wingman. He's getting used to going to the end zone with the defense here.
LaBrosse started a trend last week.
Yeah, got them into a bit of a rhythm. It's a big hit on Myron Mitchell. And flopping forwards. Mitchell trying to get up and jog that one off. He does, thankfully. But the return matchup that we previewed coming in.
Terrence Gagne gets a nice hit right here.
And Wooden as well is not in there. It's been Keandre Smith the last couple of times with Myron Mitchell working alongside him in the two-man return. So hope that Wooden is okay, but on the sidelines as of now. Lost his wind earlier in the game, but didn't look like anything else obvious. And 2:20 remaining in this fourth quarter. Harrison Frost after the pick 6, back to work and sliding Smith. It's Keandre along the sideline. They'll say it is a good catch. He got a knee or a calf or something down in front of the Tiger Cats bench.
A little bit of movement, get him outside. Don't worry about Aramalade and all those guys. Move the launch point, let him throw it out on the flood route to the wide side of the field so he can locate it and not worry about protections. Important reps with 2:15 left if Harrison's going to be getting more games down the stretch. So stay on this field, go lead him to a touchdown.
Try to build some positive film, some good momentum. As jump cut in the middle of the hole. Nice run this time. Up in between the tackles. That's Johnny Augustine. It is, and 27 picks his way through the Calgary defense, close to a first down.
Augustine's done a great job as the next man up in the game when Roundtree needs a play or two off. 9-year player out of Guelph. Most of his career in the Bombers.
Yeah, you saw Keelan Thomas there getting some reps on defensive line as well. Well earned after leading the league in special teams tackles here late in the game. Get an opportunity to show that he might be worthy of being in the mix down the stretch, and again right down that hash.
Every time we needed, there are times that Andrew Harris would have been injured my time in Winnipeg, and we said, we're not putting, we're not going to put the American tailback in. We're going to go with Johnny Augustine, and every time he had an opportunity, Johnny Augustine step up, had some big games.
And not hard to tell based on body type and the shape he keeps himself in, a downhill physical runner. Augustine in for Larry Roundtree, who appears to have the rest of this ball game out, as they'll send Augustine out on a route, and Frost looking for a corner. Big collision once again. Keandre Smith, the intended receiver.
And this is what I was kind of talking about with young quarterbacks. They've got to understand these are top-down reads. This is what's called a vertical stretch. You got to take the vertical stretch when it's there. You see Johnson right there? Johnson's saying this young guy's not going to throw the go ball, the deep ball. So I'm just going to wait until he's going to throw the flood, the ball, the second level throw. You got to look down the ladder on these reads, on these vertical stretches. Throw the go ball until they stop it. That's what Bo Levi Mitchell, he throws the go ball.
Yeah. Always and forever, as Bo loves to take shots down the field, and Aramalade making up for lost time coming off that Achilles injury from 2025.
Yeah, Braden Swartout in his second start here, struggles against the flow on the outside. You can see how wide flow is, so he beats him with his hands, gets around, forces quarterback up and inside. Harrison's got no place to go as he climbs in because the defensive line is rushed inside, but a speed rush by Flo right around Swartout's got to use his hands better. Can't miss with your hands.
Spread it out to the right of Frost here as he looks to throw out into the flats, and Keandre Smith makes the grab.
And, you know, Marshall, you know, what this offense is going to look like down the road for the Ticats, I'm not sure. Scott Milano is a very intelligent football coach, knows what he's doing. He will design something. But the key for this team is they're going to have to adjust. Right. And what does that mean? Like, Keandre Smith just gets a catch. Kenny Lawler wants a catch. Kenny Lawler is one of the best deep ball throwers in the league. But there has to be leadership at this team to say, hey, there's a recipe for us to win. It may not be how you guys would love it to be, but let's find what that is, find what our quarterbacks do well, and just go execute that. Now, if it turns into we're more blocking and more screens and deep balls, so be it, because they just need a win. They just want to win. And you've got to be unselfish and just do whatever it takes, what your quarterback can handle.
Absolutely, yeah. Josh Love into the ball game here as well. The backup as flags fly. After the end of the play, Ludovic Choquette in at running back. Scott Milanovic and the Tiger Cats, since Bo Levi Mitchell has gone down, they will now be losers in 4, I should say, of their last 5 football games, including a big loss, obviously, on the road against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are coming up in our game as soon as this one is complete, as they take on Edmonton from Commonwealth. But they end up getting just the 1-point victory at the end when Liram Hairolahu missed the field goal here at Hamilton Stadium. So they squeaked one out, but losing 4 of 5 has put them in a real tough spot in the East Division.
VA 18 of 25, 1 TD, no interceptions, so the streak stays alive.
He's at 295 passes attempted without an interception as it stands here with his day done. And we head to Toronto on Thursday night to see whether or not he can reach up the next rank in that ladder.
And again, there's not a lot, you know, we're only talking 1 or 2 series.
There are 2 fouls at the previous. There are 2 fouls on the previous play. Calgary number 19. We have a 15-yard UR misconduct penalty against Hamilton number 0. Going to go up 10 yards, first down Calgary. Sorry, back 10 yards, first down Calgary.
And Quincy Vaughn, who's done a little bit of everything today, adds to the Gordie Howe.
And I know Calgary's not, they got their backups in right now, and it wasn't for the whole quarter and everything. But I can't tell you on a short week how good it is to get your starters out.
Second down.
See, yeah, Vaughn and, is that Isaiah Banya? Yep, little stuff at the end that punches. I don't know if that's a punch or the pushing around. Draws the penalties.
And Quincy's brother, Justin, a former defensive end for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We've seen before Trey Ford play against Tyrell Ford. Obviously, we've seen Jalen Philpott play against Tyson Philpott. I was just imagining a time travel machine right now where it was a Ticats defender going against Quincy Vaughn. It could have been his brother in a different universe. Lots of familial connections between these teams, and certainly this game, not just the score, but the fact he didn't get an opportunity to try and battle back in will leave a sour taste for Trey Ford going into week number 10. And we'll have to see what their plan is, as you said, Lapo, of who's playing and what does that mean for what this offense becomes with Bo Levi Mitchell, who wasn't necessarily the runaway MOP.
He was close.
But he was pretty darn close, man. Yeah, his pace was unbelievable. There's a lot of people playing great football all over the Canadian Football League.
And I was talking to him before the game, and he talked about, hey, what do you think? Why is the offense is up? Why is so many players playing good? I said,
wait, Bo was interviewing you?
He was asking me the opinion. I said, you know, certainly how much zone coverage teams are playing, but I don't know why with zone coverage there's still so many explosives in the Canadian Football League now. I think it's great quarterback play. Yeah. And he's like, it's been fun to watch, man. I've enjoyed watching it all. And an important thing for Bo Levi Mitchell is to be still part of the program. Be part of the quarterback room, help at Harrison, say, hey, listen, when I started out, this is the things you got to think about. Like, the quarterback room is crucial for young quarterbacks. The assistance from the vets and the older guys is crucial. And it's not, can't just come from the coaches. They get so much information from the other quarterbacks in the room. Hey, what do you like here? Here's how I prepared. Here's some of the things I did to be successful. And it just can't come from Jared Baines and Scott. It's got to come from the other quarterbacks, and Bo can help a lot of ways with that.
With all respect to Zach Claros, because I think he's right there in this conversation too, I don't know if there is another quarterback.
It's Jared Baines right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if there's another quarterback that, if out injured, you would want in your room trying to help more than Bo.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing it all, understanding, does it with a confidence, and a smart football guy.
Harrison Frost will close this one out. Go to the ground game here with Johnny Augustine once again. And for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they will be away coming up next week against the BC Lions. So a road trip follows this home defeat, and Hayden Salter, certainly impressive that you were on the panel earlier on in this week 9.
And short week for the Ticats, and they'll be right back at it Thursday. BMO Field.
Oh, Stampeders.
Oh, sorry, Stampeders. Yeah, Stampeders.
Argonauts get their best shot on the red and white, staying out here in between these 2 weeks. As Augustine again picks his way right down the middle of the fields. And the clock strikes zeros. And life after Bo Levi Mitchell continues. Unfortunately, it adds a 5th loss of the season onto their record for what started out with so much momentum and success. The Calgary club comes in and gets the job done. Dave Dickinson's crew find a way, put up 44 points.
Here's what's pretty cool about this Calgary Stampeders football team. Vernon Adams, 18 of 25, 72%, 252 yards. Now, we always talk about leading rushing team in the CFL. Dedrick Mills, Dedrick Mills today, 10 carries, 44 yards. Nothing